of this symposium, Nishinomiya-Yukawa Memorial International Symposium on what is like next 100 years of Yukawa's dream. Now, first of all, I'd like to introduce a telegram. This telegram is from Mr. Satoru Yamada, who is the mayor of Nishinomiya City. Now let me read it, the telegram. The telegram is addressed to Mr. Toru Eguchi, the director of the Yukawa Institute for Theoretical Physics. Now, congratulations on the opening of the 23rd Nishinomiya-Yukawa Memorial International Symposium on Theoretical Physics. We hope that you will enjoy the advancing autumn in Kyoto and that your days will be fruitful. Best wishes for a successful symposium and for the advancement of theoretical physics. Satoru Yamada, the mayor of Nishinomiya City. Thank you very much. Now, this symposium could not be held without the support of many people and many organizations. But in particular, this symposium is the result of the great efforts of Dr. Murase attending here, who is belonging to the Yukawa Institute and chair of the organizing committee of this symposium. Now, please, Dr. Murase.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to hold Nishinomiya-Yukawa International Symposium on what is life. Fortunately, this symposium is co-sponsored by APCTP, Asia-Pacific Center for Theoretical Physics, and ICAM, Institute for Complex Adaptive Matter, Institute for Complex ICAM, Institute for Complex Adaptive Matter. Executive Director Professor Kim and Coordinator Professor Cook are coming from APCTP. This is the beginning of our future collaboration. As you now know that this year of 2007 is a centennial of late Professor Hideki Yukawa's birth. He is the first Nobel Prize winner as Japanese. Kyoto University has held many ceremonies for celebration of his centennial birth, especially on the basis of his contribution to the creation of particle physics. This symposium looks therefore extraordinary because it will make bridges among interdisciplinary subjects such as physics, mathematics, biology, psychology, philosophy, environment, religion, and even arts. I nevertheless believe that such efforts must be very important during the next 100 years in the scope of Yukawa's dream. This symposium has been held at Nishinomiya City and at the Yukawa Institute for over 20 years. Currently, our institute is under reconstitution, so I decided to use this phrase. Of course, it is very difficult to answer the long-standing problem of what is life. I think, however, when we consider science and philosophy, in addition arts and religion, then we have a possibility to make some plausible answer to this long-standing problem. I believe that one of the most important concepts must be Niels Bohr's complementarity principle, that opposites are complementary. For instance, in a classical theory, particle phenomena and wave phenomena are mutually exclusive and even contradictory. But from a point of view of quantum theory, they are merely the different aspects of the same phenomena as complementary. Interestingly, the core of the deep insight seen in Eastern philosophy resembles this complementary idea in modern physics. The famous Indian legend tells us a crucial story. 6 blind men touching an elephant answered that it was spear, fan, snake, rope, tree, or wall. All these are right, but also they are wrong too. Incorporating all these oppositions, we can only get a real answer. Along this line, Professor Aji Mola will give a talk on double-edged sword of neuroplasticity in health and disease on this symposium. Complementarity has attracted many artists as well because of its visual symmetry. Dutch artist Escher tried to demonstrate complementarity based on understandable patterns. He first considered single motif and its mirror image in order to fill out the given space. Here, the background and pattern are completely complementary. When you are looking at red pattern, the surroundings are becoming background, and vice versa. Boundaries have thus 2 functions that are edging patterns and background at the same time. Escher then developed double meanings of oppositions by using 2 motifs. One is pessimist, the other is one is optimist, the other is pessimist. He finally tried to create the nature of infinity by making a circle. Actually, in this drawing, 2 opposed motifs are walking to the center. When they meet, they shake hands with each other. This drawing, therefore, indicates supra-complementarity. Just like Escher tried to fill out the 2-dimensional space, scientists try to fill out the empirical space through the development of theories. I found this diagram from the developmental psychologist Jean Piaget's book. This is only the generalization of Niels Bohr's complementarity principle. Piaget also considered how we obtain the concept of number during the development. He mentioned that there are some critical ages around 7, and before the critical period, children knew individual numbers, but after the critical period, they created the concept of the number based on complementarity of equality and inequality. As a result, we can now know almost infinite numbers. Irrespective of details, I believe that there must be some common features behind evolution and development in general. When I rotate this diagram and place it vertically, we can get 3-dimensional diagram between so-called spiral diagram between so-called objective X world and subjective end system. I call this end X circulation. There are 2 opposed planes denoted by yellow and red colors, projecting the three-dimensional feature onto the vertical plane and horizontal plane, we can get two different types of patterns. Interestingly, in the region of Eastern world, very attractive patterns have been drawn again and again. They are called mandala. Mandala is therefore the symbol of opposition, complementarity. Mandala of this side, I think it corresponds to vertical view, is called Taizokai, which represents female. This is used actually in the poster here. Psychologically, it means the structure of unconsciousness. Mandala, on the other hand side, which is called, which corresponds to horizontal view, and which is called Kongokai. This represents male. Similar patterns appear successively. This means that the evolution or development occurs as time proceeds. So this mandala is thought to be the dynamical process of consciousness. Actually, psychologist Carl Gustav Jung has been very interested in mandala as powerful tools for curing psychologically ill persons. Connection of oppositions is his very famous words. I asked Professor Motohiro Yoritomi, president of Shikin University, to give a talk on mandala. Through these sketches, I'd like to suggest that continuous incorporation or end-axis circulation must be a universal process among diverse life phenomena, such as the origin of life, present-day cellular process, and the cognitive function, recognizing unassociated dots as a pattern of a night on the pose through so-called closure. Professor David Lima of University of California at Santa Cruz will give a talk on origin of life, especially as he will discuss encapsulation of macromolecules by membranous vesicles seems to be very interesting process leading to the origin of life. Now, I would like to mention that life can be defined as a process of end-axis circulation. There are continuous division and reconstitution of different kinds of positions as indicated by this figure. I think that self-destructing features such as aging and age-related diseases, which are the topics of Professor Robert Arby of Wayne State University, may be considered cohesively within this framework. Here, I have to tell you one important point, as it is essential to take into account of successive oppositions. We should never forget to consider about the entire opposition to the emerging wholeness. Then, the actual wholeness completely contains self-similarity. Such a deep consideration was given by Japanese philosopher Kitaro Nishida. He clearly mentioned absolutely contradictory self-identity. This view indeed seems to be very influential because we generally think of ideal case alone. For instance, when we are talking of developmental psychology, we never consider about the environmental pollution. But according to Nishida, we also have to consider completely inverse relationship. It is recently well known that when the man-made chemicals are present, textbook knowledge is completely destroyed. Children never draw usual figures. I'm afraid that electromagnetic pollution might be additional dimension to this problem, This is the reason why I asked Professor Liu Salford to give a talk. He is the Institute Director of Lund University. He is talking about biological effects of electromagnetic fields on the last day of this symposium. This might be another inconvenient truth next to the global warming, strongly cautioned by former Vice President Al Gore. Now he is a Nobel Prize winner in peace of this year. This is the mainstream how I organize this symposium on what is right. I am sorry not to mention all the contributions named in this introduction. Before closing my talk, I would like to mention one thing. Because Mark's talk was cancelled, I would like to ask Professor Holberg to move into the morning session instead. I hope through the whole week program, all the participants enjoy discussions on interdisciplinary subjects. I also hope that intergenerational communication will be pursued towards future collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a nice opening talk. Now, for time schedule, we are very sorry for having time for only one brief comment or question, if you have. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much again.